This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in places that could expose you to identity theft. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, their US-based restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Is it time to reimagine your future? The right business skills may make a difference in your career. At Capella University, we offer a relevant education that's designed to focus on what you need to know in the business world. We'll teach professional skills to help you pursue your goals, like business management, strategic planning, and effective communication. And you can apply these skills right away. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.
We have joining us, as he does on a regular basis, the morning show when Sid is in, of course, the 5 o'clock roundtable discussion with John and Rita and the contributors, and his own show at night, Bill O'Reilly, that you can hear 9 to 10.
Common Sense with Bill O'Reilly.
Bill O'Reilly last week predicted that Andrew Cuomo would run for mayor. More information about that just breaking. I don't know if you're aware of this, Bill O'Reilly. The controller of New York City wants the Republican-led House to charge Cuomo with crimes about the 15,000 who passed away when the governor was in charge during the lockdown and pandemic. That means Brad Lander, the Democrat, wants the Republicans to disable him so that he's weakened before he might jump in. Would that be correct?
Yeah, but it's a stunt. So it's not going to happen. I mean, the House of Representatives are going to hand over a dictum to the Justice Department, Pam Bondi. They got way too many things to do, Curtis. They're not going to mess around with Cuomo and that COVID stuff. It's not going to happen. So Cuomo will run because Adams, I understand, and partially this is from your reporting, he's got other stuff coming down the lane here, and I don't think he's gonna be able to survive it.
We're talking about Adams, Bill.
Yeah.
I mean, we spoke to Ray Kelly. I don't know if you heard our discussions with Ray Kelly. I mean, I can't believe what's happened to the NYPD, the finest police department in the world.
Yeah, sure. But when you have a weak, John, you know this because you've lived in the city your whole life, so have I, so has Curtis. When you have a weak leadership in Albany and in the city, then the miscreants run wild, not only on the streets and criminal, but in the police department as well. 10% of every organization in the world, including the Vatican, are evil. 10%. And if you don't have restraints, you don't have watchdogs, they're going to take over. And it's exactly what's happened here. Well, getting back to...
The criminals are running the asylum.
Well, I don't know if it's an asylum. What it is a lot of New York voters simply are not paying attention to their own quality of life, which is pretty stunning. It's happened before. I mean, electing Joe Biden, now that we know the Wall Street Journal reporting, if you go to read my column on BillO'Reilly.com, which is an analysis of the Wall Street Journal report, it's horrifying that 81 million Americans voted for an impaired man, and you had to know that he wasn't 100% if you cared at all, but people believe what they want to believe. But I want to make one more point about the mayoral race, because I think WABC is going to be in the forefront of that. What I'm hearing from very reliable sources, and I'm a reporter as well as a historian and an analyst. I mean, I'm out there trying to get information. What I'm hearing is that so much money came into New York City to support these migrants, hundreds of thousands of them that have arrived here, that nobody watched the money. When it poured into housing, food, security, nobody watched it. And a lot of the contracts that were awarded were no bids. And a lot of that money did not wind up in the migrant area, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And this is where I think you're going to see in 2025, because the Justice Department, to Merrick Garland's credit, Merrick Garland is a very weak attorney general, in my opinion, to his credit. That Justice Department, when Trump comes in, they're going to hand over a dossier to the new U.S. Attorney of the Southern District, and it's going to curl your hair. So I hate to be Grinch on Christmas Eve, but I think WABC listeners deserve a heads up. This whole thing, this mayoral race, is not going to be what people think it's going to be.
In other words, billions and billions and billions of dollars went to the wrong direction.
Not billions. I would say hundreds of millions.
Okay.
Low hundreds of millions. And I'm working the story now because I have a very, very good source here. And it's a classic no one watching the money. It's like the MTA. Who's watching the MTA? You got congestion pricing starting
January 5th.
Who's watching that money?
Bottomless black hole.
Right. No one is watching that money. And that has been going on for decades. And once you have a situation where every day millions of dollars pour in to the city treasury and there's no one watching it, come on.
Bill, I always say contract, you say contract, I say kickback. Follow the kickbacks.
And on the money, Bill.
Well, there is an element, but now the federal government is on to that element. See, before, when the locals were in charge of investigating, you weren't going to get it. And it's not the NYPD, by the way. This is a state beef. And I'm sorry, but we don't have an effective governor. We do not. Now, as far as Cuomo is concerned, he's treading water because he knows stuff is coming down the lane. And he's going to have to, if he wants to run, he's going to have to own that nursing thing, and he's going to have to own the no bail law. And if he doesn't own it, then it's not a lock that he'll win, even though I don't know if he's going to have Adams as a competitor.
Plus, Cuomo's got a big union backlash because he and his father gave hundreds of millions to Walmart, Amazon, Wegmans to put unionized retailers like WABC out of business.
Uh-huh.
The Cuomos gave Walmart, Amazon, and others.
You're talking about subsidies for them to open up. That's Bert Flickinger, consumer advocate,
and put 20,000 union workers that you know well, Bill, from your experience supporting the UFCW, the Teamsters, and the Bakers, Pathmark, AMP, Grand Union. Tens of thousands of unionized jobs, the commercial shopping centers that pay the taxes for public school education. Cuomo and his dad are more responsible for that taxpayer subsidies.
Our education system is in the toilet.
And discriminating against the Katzmatidis family, which is the largest.
Please, don't bring me up.
Okay, discriminating against unionized employers in New York City, New York State, and across America.
Do you know more about that? I do, but I don't think people are going to vote on what happened. That is a very important story, but people vote emotion, and they vote public disorder, they vote taxes, they vote peer pressure, and that is what's kept the weak leadership in, this peer pressure in a bunch of communities in New York City. I said this a couple of years ago when I was talking to John Catsimatidis. I said the key to turning the city around are the black pastors in the churches. And they're the ones that have to lead, and they have not. Still to this day have stepped up. And if they would start to level with their congregations, and you're getting hosed here. Not only are you getting hosed economically, but you can't even walk to the bodega without somebody, the good chance that somebody's going to bother you. And you want your children to see the depravity in the streets. And I was at the Knicks game last night, and I'm walking down the 7th Avenue from the Garden, and it's like a fog of marijuana smoke. And I got my kid with me. I got my son with me. And he doesn't do that. And I said, this is quality of life in the nation's most powerful city, where you can't walk down a main thoroughfare without being enveloped in marijuana smoke. this is the kind of city we want.
Let me ask a question of 2025. We're going into a new year, and the marijuana smoke is tremendous. People came down on cigarette smoke like no tomorrow.
Right.
Is there going to be a class action suit against marijuana? Because I come out of our office building and all I can smoke is breathe is marijuana.
Yeah. And you would think it would be an environmental hazard, right? Where are the greens? Where are they?
Well, Bill O'Reilly, want to wish you a very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's for you and yours and your great contributions that you've made to WABC on a regular basis. Thank you.
Thank you, Curtis. That's very nice of you. And I want to wish a traditional Christmas. That's what we have at the O'Reilly House, going all the way back to 1953 in Levittown. I try to keep it that way, you know. Johnny Mathis and all of that, and a nice tree, and so I want everybody to have a nice traditional Christmas. And I appreciate WABC being on the air. People need to get information even on days like this. And
Merry Christmas to all your family. I know you're going to be taking away some of your kids or grandkids, and God bless. I mean, traditional. And thank you for that big basket of cookies and crackers and cookies, and we'll be eating them all day today.
All right, that was a bribe, John.
I know.
All right, thank you, Bill.
See you guys.
Thank you so much, and enjoy the vacation.
Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But D.C. politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com.